In this episode, we're going to dig into 3 techniques that sound similar but serve different purposes when you are trying to protect sensitive data in AI systems: masking, redaction, and de-identification. Beginners often treat them as interchangeable, like 3 words for hiding information, but the differences matter because they determine what the data can still be used for afterward and how safe it is if it leaks. Masking usually means replacing a sensitive value with a safer representation while preserving some utility, like keeping the last 4 digits of an account number for recognition. Redaction usually means removing or obscuring the value so it is not present in the dataset at all, like blacking out a name in a report. De-identification is broader and aims to reduce the chance that a person can be identified, often by transforming or generalizing multiple fields so they cannot be linked back to a specific individual. In AI security, you use these techniques to reduce privacy risk, reduce leakage, and still keep enough context for the model and the humans to do useful work. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. To see why this matters, picture a common security workflow. You want a model to summarize a set of support tickets or incident notes. Those notes might include names, phone numbers, email addresses, internal system identifiers, and sometimes even secrets that someone pasted by mistake. If you feed that raw text to a model, you risk exposing sensitive details through outputs, logs, and downstream sharing. If you remove everything sensitive indiscriminately, you might also remove the relationships that make the story understandable, such as which user did what on which device and when. The practical challenge is to protect privacy without destroying meaning. Masking, redaction, and de-identification are tools for making that trade-off explicit rather than accidental. Each one can be done well or badly, and in security, doing it badly can be worse than not doing it at all because it creates a false sense of safety. Masking is often the most user-friendly approach because it keeps data recognizable while reducing exposure. For example, you might mask an email address by keeping the domain but replacing the user part, or you might mask an IP address by hiding the last octet. The value of masking is that it supports correlation and troubleshooting. A human can still tell whether 2 records refer to the same entity, and a model can still reason about patterns across records. The risk is that masking can be reversible if done naively. If you mask by simply replacing characters with stars, the original value might still be inferred from other context. Even keeping partial values can be risky when combined with other fields. So masking must be matched to the threat model. If the goal is to prevent casual exposure in summaries, partial masking might be enough. If the goal is to ensure the dataset is safe for broader sharing, masking alone may not be sufficient. Redaction is stronger in the sense that it aims to remove sensitive content entirely, but it comes with its own pitfalls. A redaction that leaves fragments behind can still leak information, and a redaction that deletes too aggressively can remove critical context. In unstructured text, redaction is hard because sensitive values can appear in many formats and places, and automated pattern matching can misedge cases. A common beginner mistake is to redact only obvious fields like email addresses and forget about usernames, file paths, or unique identifiers that can still identify a person indirectly. Another mistake is to redact inconsistently, so the same user appears under multiple different replacements, breaking correlation. Responsible redaction often uses consistent placeholders, meaning that when a value is removed, it is replaced with a token that stays stable within a dataset. That preserves relationships while ensuring the original value is not present. De-identification is the most conceptually important and the easiest to misunderstand. De-identification is not just hiding names. It is reducing the chance that someone can be identified from the data, even indirectly. Indirect identification is the real trap. You might remove names, but if you keep department, job title, exact timestamps, location, and a unique device identifier, it might still be easy to figure out who the record refers to. In security data, re-identification risk is high because datasets often contain unique behavior patterns and unique combinations of attributes. Practical de-identification often involves generalizing, like converting exact timestamps into broader time windows, converting precise locations into regions, and replacing unique identifiers with random tokens. The goal is to preserve the patterns needed for analysis while removing the uniqueness that makes individuals identifiable. This is why de-identification is a broader strategy, not a single find-and-replace operation. A key principle across all three techniques is that you need to define what you are protecting against. If you are protecting against accidental exposure in a model summary shown to a small internal team, you may accept a lighter approach like masking and selective redaction. If you are preparing data for training or for sharing across teams, you need stronger de-identification because the audience is larger and the risk of misuse is higher. If you are preparing data for external sharing, you may need the strongest approach and a strict review process. The technique is not chosen based on preference. It is chosen based on risk, audience, and purpose. This connects directly to data minimization because the best way to protect sensitive data is often to avoid collecting or using it in the first place. There is also a practical workflow pattern that helps a lot. Separate identity mapping from analysis. In this pattern, you replace sensitive identifiers with stable tokens early. Then you store the mapping between token and real identity in a separate, tightly controlled system. The model and most humans work only with tokens. Only authorized workflows can resolve a token back to a real identity when necessary, such as when you must contact a user or perform an access review. This pattern reduces exposure because most systems never see the real identifiers. It also improves auditability because you can log every time someone resolves a token. For beginners, this is a powerful idea because it demonstrates how you can keep analytical utility without spreading sensitive data everywhere. You are essentially building a privacy boundary around identity. Another issue to understand is that redaction and masking can interact badly with security detection if you are not careful. Some indicators of compromise are embedded in strings that look like PII, such as a suspicious email address used in phishing or a domain name that resembles a user identifier. If you automatically redact anything that looks like an email, you might remove an attacker-controlled address that is actually critical evidence. In incident response, you often need to preserve malicious identifiers while protecting legitimate personal identifiers. That suggests a nuanced approach where you classify the type of identifier and decide how to handle it based on context. For example, an internal user email might be tokenized, while an external sender address involved in phishing might be retained because it is part of the threat evidence. Beginners should recognize that privacy and security can sometimes pull in different directions, and the job is to design rules that protect people while still allowing investigation. Practical de-identification also needs to consider linkability across datasets. A token that is stable within one dataset might become risky if reused across multiple datasets, because it allows someone to combine information and re-identify individuals. If you use the same token for the same person everywhere, an analyst with access to multiple datasets might reconstruct identity through patterns. On the other hand, if you change tokens constantly, you lose the ability to track patterns over time, which can hurt security. The responsible approach is to choose token stability that matches the use case. For short-lived analysis, you might use dataset-specific tokens. For ongoing internal monitoring with strict access controls, you might use stable tokens but tightly control access to the mapping. The key is to make linkability a deliberate design choice rather than an accidental byproduct. It is also important to treat masking and redaction as transformations that must be validated. After you apply them, you should test whether sensitive values are still present, whether placeholders are consistent, and whether the resulting dataset still supports the analysis you need. In security, you can think of this as testing whether the dataset can still answer who, what, where, and when, even if who is represented as a token. If the redaction removed all timestamps, your incident summaries may become useless. If the masking left too much detail, you may still be exposing identity. Validation is what keeps you from drifting into false confidence. It also helps you detect edge cases where redaction fails, such as secrets pasted into free-form fields or identifiers embedded in file paths. As you become more advanced, you will also hear about techniques like differential privacy and more formal anonymization. But for this certification level, The practical takeaway is that perfect anonymity is hard, especially with rich security data. That does not mean you give up. It means you aim for practical de-identification that reduces risk substantially and is backed by access controls, minimization, and retention policies. You assume that some re-identification risk may remain, so you treat de-identified datasets with appropriate care rather than assuming they are harmless. In security, we rarely get perfect safety. We get layered safety that makes harm much less likely and much less severe. By the end of this episode, you should have a clear picture of how these techniques differ and how to use them responsibly. Masking preserves some recognizability, but can be reversible or leaky if used casually. Redaction removes data more strongly, but can destroy context if overused or fail silently if patterns are missed. De-identification is a broader strategy that reduces identifiability across multiple fields and must consider indirect identification and linkability. When you combine these approaches with stable tokenization, separate identity mapping, careful validation, and purpose-based sharing, you protect sensitive data while still preserving the security-relevant signal needed for analysis. That balance is what makes AI systems safer in real environments where you cannot simply stop handling sensitive information, but you can handle it far more responsibly.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.